Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch, episode 364.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos.
Why do you get gloves?
Well, I packed you some, but you didn't seem like you were interested in them.
I didn't know I had any. We are in Elkhart, Indiana, and it is...
toasty hot.
Freezing.
It's cold.
I know y'all are going, you are wusses, but for two Floridians, this is cold.
I embrace the name wuss. I wear it like a badge of honor. That is true.
So welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch. If you are new here, Keto Beyond the Couch is all about our subscribers. We do this every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, and we do it live whenever possible. Now, this week's episode is not live.
Not possible.
Because, like I said, we are in Elkhart, Indiana. We're going to be getting some upgrades on our RV. We're actually parked right now in the parking lot for Moride, and we're going to be getting an independent suspension installed on our RV. That is really going to improve the quality of the RV as far as riding. Also, it protects it because now it's got an independent suspension instead of a leaf spring system. They're also going to be up on the front, changing out our gooseneck, and they're giving us anti-lock brakes, which not anti-lock brakes, rather disc brakes, which really improves the braking capability of the RV. So I'm super excited about that. So we're parked in the parking lot, and we're not going to be able to be live because they're going to be working on the RV when we would normally be live. But if you're watching this at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we will be live down below in the chat for the premiere, so make sure you say hello.
Say hello, Rachel. Also, I just want to say, while everybody's watching, thank you so much for driving us here. It's not easy to drive, 18 hours.
I don't mind driving at all, and I don't even mind driving at night, so long as it's a straight road like on the interstate, like on I-75 or I-65 or I-69. Where I don't like driving is like the hills of Tennessee and Kentucky, the windy roads at night. It's beautiful, but I don't want to do it at night because I don't know the road and it's not a straight shot. But yeah, we left on Friday in the afternoon. We drove for about 6 or 7 hours, stopped in Valdosta, Georgia. And we were able to camp in a Cracker Barrel parking lot because I have an amazing solar system thanks to Big Beard Battery.
Love them.
And so we were able to camp overnight. Then we got back on the road. We stopped again last night. Where did we stop? We stopped...
Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel in Smiths Grove, Kentucky. And then this morning got up here.
So thankful for Cracker Barrel opening up their parking lot for RVers to use.
Yes.
We appreciate that opportunity. We don't take it lightly. It's a nice place to feel safe. We get to go inside and buy some things, which I love about that.
Yeah, because you are supposed to do that. If you're going to stay in the parking lot, go in there, shop in the store, or eat, and to kind of say thank you and pay them a little bit for letting you use their parking lot.
Can you believe, though, that, 2 nights ago, we started this trip using the air conditioner thanks to Big Beard Battery. I do not believe we'll be tapping into the air conditioning.
We'll be tapping into an electric blanket tonight.
That's right.
So welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch. Like I said, if you're new here, this is all about our subscribers. We like to answer questions about keto and carnivore as well as celebrate subscribers and posts that they have put on our social media, like our Mighty Networks group. We're going to encourage you, go join, share your story, ask your questions and comments in Mighty Networks. It is completely free, and you can find that at members.twocrazyketos.com. I want to start off by saying, if I can pull this up, today's sponsor is Keto Brick.
Happy anniversary to Keto Brick, 8 years old.
8 years. And so we've been utilizing Keto Brick pretty much since the company started. I remember when Robert first started talking about Keto Brick, he was making them in his house for himself, and that's where most good keto products came from, somebody who eats a keto or a carnivore lifestyle, and they created it for themselves, and they started offering it to people. But he was using it for his own nutrition, and people were like, well, I want something like that. And every month he would have anywhere between 5 and 30 available. And once a month, he'd be like, okay, I have some for available. And you would have to jump on a specific day. And I think that's where the always releasing on Sunday at, 1 o'clock. It's noon his time, but 1 o'clock Eastern time. I think that's where it comes from, because you would jump on at 1 o'clock and hit refresh for, oh, they're all gone already. And then you had to wait another month. Well, now they've really evolved into an amazing family business. We absolutely love Robert and Crystal and the whole gang over at Keto Brick. And if you don't know what Keto Brick is, this is, I'll call it a meal replacement bar, but it's really a great energy bar and on-the-go bar. If you are a backpacker, a hiker, if you need some extra fat, some extra protein, it's really good. They're 1,000 calories, but you don't have to eat the whole thing in one sitting. We turn them into fat bombs, or when we're driving, this becomes a good thing instead of stopping, because it's going to give us the energy from the fat, and it's good, clean ingredients. There's different ones. This is probably my favorite one, followed up by Bell's Brownie Batter. They're always having new flavors. But here's the thing. Right now, Keto Brick, like Rachel said, they're celebrating their 8th anniversary, and they don't have a lot of sales.
No.
But they're having a sale for their 8th anniversary. So this week, if you use the link that's right here on the screen, or the one that's down below in the description box, along with the code 8YEARS, you're going to get 15% off of your order. And the best part is that stacks on top of their multi-brick discounts. So you get discounts if you get like 8, I forget the numbers, like I know 8, 24, but when you buy a multiple amount, and you can choose different flavors with those multiple amounts, you get a discount. Well, the 15% off discount stacks on top of that. So that is really cool. So if you need to get yourself some Keto Brick, you want to stock up, this is the time to do it. It's their annual sale. Again, use the link that's here on the screen or the one down below in the description box, along with the code 8YEARS to save an extra 15%. We want to say thank you very much to Keto Brick for supporting Two Crazy Ketos, and we want to say thank you to you guys for supporting the sponsors who support Two Crazy Ketos.
Now, you said 8 years with a Y, not 8 ears.
Yes.
That you listen
8 years. Hey, I'm not wearing earmuffs yet. I may be before the end of this week.
I brought some fun hats.
I did want to mention, though, if you happen to be within an hour or 2 hours of Elkhart, Indiana, and you are watching this on Monday
morning,
tonight at 6:30 p.m., we will be having a small meetup at Smokin' Fatty's Barbecue here in Elkhart, Indiana. And thank you so much to Amy for helping to arrange that whole thing. We love Smokin' Fatty's. Every time we come up here, we go there. And they have really good meat. They have a nice area in the back that we always get to sit, and the servers there and the service are there. It's all amazing. So if you're in the area, come hang out with us for a couple of hours starting tonight on Monday, March 2nd at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
We should leave the link for the hot cabbage recipe that we made.
Yes. Oh, I'm going to get some of that.
Based on having their side dish there.
Yes.
It's absolutely delicious. So if you're just going through Indiana later, this is a place to visit because the barbecue is delicious. I feel like it's reasonably priced. We always look for that when it comes to a meetup because people need to, be able to buy things on their own ticket, and we want something that's not like so expensive. Sometimes, barbecue is not cheap.
Yeah. So let's get started with our first one, which is going to be from Kelly.
Kelly P.
Kelly said, it's a meme obviously, before you criticize your body, read this. Look at those arms that have held people you love. Look at those eyes that have seen oceans and mountains. Look at the legs that carried you through the longest journeys. Look at the feet that kept you standing on your hardest days. Look at the smile that showed up millions of times for joy. Look at your body, not for the curves or textures, but for the life that it has carried you through. Now look again. What do you see?
Oh my goodness. What a beautiful reminder, Kelly, of the truth. We only look at ourselves like through a lens of criticism. And it's such a waste of energy. It's just such a waste. And I think about how, like my grandmother. I think about my grandmother and like she looked in the mirror throughout the course of her lifetime. I hope that she was able to look and see the beauty I saw. If you could look at yourself the way that you looked at somebody that you love, that carried you, did things for you, I think we would begin to have a fresh perspective and really a true perspective of how precious this body is.
Next one we have is from Laquita.
Hey, Laquita.
Said, tomorrow on the 24th, I will be the same age as my husband when God called him home. On the 27th, the half-century door shall be opened, and I will step in. And look at this picture.
Oh my goodness, how beautiful. What a lovely thing to think about. That you're stepping through a fresh doorway.
Yes.
That you've earned.
Yes.
Right? You've earned it to be here. You fought hard to stay here.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that you've had another trip around the sun. And you're also taking this time to honor your husband's life as well.
Yep. Now, I know it's past the 27th, but I do think we should sing happy birthday to Laquita.
Yes, let's do it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Laquita. Happy birthday to you.
And many more. So many more.
Now, I should mention, for those of you who are new, and you may be asking, like, what's the deal with the happy birthday thing? Listen, we focus on community. We believe that you cannot do life without community. And certainly when it comes to keto and carnivore, you need community. And that's why I encourage it. And we tell you, listen, if you are at all active in our groups, in our Mighty Networks group, our Facebook group, if you are active in our live streams, if you are active in our chats, on our videos,
we see you.
We see you. We know who you are. You are our family, and we want to celebrate everything with you. We want to celebrate wins. We want to celebrate victories. We want to celebrate if you're struggling with something, and we want to celebrate your birthday.
That's right.
So next one we have is from Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea.
Said, I've officially been back on the wagon for a little over a week. I weighed myself on Sunday, and I've lost 5 pounds, which is nice. But I already feel so much better physically and mentally. This truly is the best lifestyle. I'm so glad to be back at it.
Something that we don't think about, in that first whoosh of weight loss, when we have that victory, it's good for our mind. It's good for our thoughts, to be like, wow, okay, I am doing something, I'm prioritizing myself, and stuff is happening, right? But the thing that's really goes out with that big first whoosh of weight is true inflammation.
Yes.
I mean, the things that make us feel like on a daily basis. And to be able to step into a fresh month, here we are in March, I can't believe it, and not have to be what a blessing.
Yeah.
Right? To be free of that inflammation.
Yep. Next one we have is from Sarah Joy.
Sarah Joy.
Sarah said, in yesterday's live, Rachel talked about eating for nutrient density and suggested to Google what nutrients are commonly deficient for your age and your sex. So I got curious, of course, and I had to do my own research. It was definitely fascinating. For me, it was suggest to eat ruminant animals, small fish, rich in omega-3s, salmon, tuna, and eggs. I'm pretty on track with these with that these days. So as I mostly eat meat and some veggies, still need to work on my omega-3s. I'm not a huge fan of fish, me either. It's nice to know what eating for nutrient density looks like. I use ChatGPT instead of Google.
Well, and what is so powerful about this is you get to look up information, and this is not a fad. This is not a fad diet. This is working with biology. This is working with your individual season of life. And you can do this if you're like, hey, if I am a young woman, I am a young man, what should I be prioritizing if I'm a growing boy, a growing girl?
Right.
This is something that can be scaled throughout your lifetime. And how awesome is that if you're a young parent and you're like, how can I help children that I'm raising start school on the best foot forward? What are things that I can do to help them to partner with their brain development and their body and their teeth? Like, what is the best thing I could do? It's nice to know that you can look that up. There are true answers to that, and then you could eat accordingly.
Yeah, and thanks to things like ChatGPT, you could first go in and say, I eat this lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm eating a carnivore lifestyle. I'm eating a ketogenic lifestyle that focuses on meat, and maybe even lists some of these are the things I eat. Now tell me, what are people my age deficient, or vice versa? Ask that first. My age, I'm a male, 55 years old. What generally we're deficient in? Now this is my eating lifestyle. what are foods that fit within my lifestyle that I can eat to help pick up those nutrients.
Yeah.
So those are really cool things. Those are some of the things that ChatGPT and AI like Grok and stuff can help with. I will encourage you though, when you do that, make sure you ask a lot of questions and give it a lot of information, because don't go by the first thing it says. Like, no matter what it is. If you say, hey, I'm 55 years old and I'm a man, and what could I possibly be deficient in nutrients? You have to then follow up with more stuff, because A, it's probably going to give you stuff based on eating a standard American diet, not yours. So you have to give it a lot of information. That's why at the very bottom of your ChatGPT window, it says, I could be wrong.
Well, it's nice that you can, follow-up questions that you can pose are, give me some research studies that I can read that support the answers that you're giving me.
Yes. Next one we have is from Juliana.
Hey, Juliana.
Said, random egg white question. I have this orange tub with the sunflower lecithin. I got this little one on top of, and recipes from memory tested off before I try to use it again. Is it okay to taste the powder? Taste it as a powder, like uncooked? I've only cooked it. I'm thinking I'm just overthinking it since it's a powder, but raw is okay, right? I just want to not ruin another recipe. It's possible the recipes were just bad recipes, but now I'm thinking it was the new brand. So you have kind of two things going on here, Juliana. The first thing, can you eat it raw? I'm going to tell you yes. For two reasons. Number one, I'm okay with eating raw egg whites. I'm okay with eating raw eggs. A lot of people don't understand that salmonella, like, you have a better chance of getting salmonella eating a salad, which I probably just triggered a whole bunch of carnivores to say, see, that's why you don't eat salad. But it's true though. Like salmonella, when it comes to eggs, it's generally something that's on the shells, not so much in the eggs. That's why I always encourage people, like, when you crack your shells, don't do it on the food dish that you're actually going to be eating from. Especially if they're like farm eggs, and people like us who don't wash our eggs.
Right.
Inside, very, very rare. Lots of people eat raw eggs. I eat raw eggs.
Rocky.
People drink raw eggs and all that kind of stuff. So I would not be as concerned with it there. But when it comes to like a protein powder or an egg white powder, that is generally going to be dehydrated or freeze-dried anyway, so any kind of bacteria would have been killed either through the dehydrating because of the heat, or because through the freeze-drying because through the cold. So I would have no problems trying raw egg white powder. The other side, if you're wondering is it the egg white powder, it depends on the recipe, but it could be the sunflower lecithin. So egg white powders that have sunflower lecithin, they react a little bit differently. And so, for example, with egg white breads, if you're trying to make the egg white bread with just the egg whites, not using raw egg whites, but only using the powder and mixing with water, you generally have to beat it for a lot longer, because the sunflower lecithin does something that makes it like react a little bit differently. Ultimately, you get there, but it just a lot of times takes a little bit longer. So it could be the sunflower lecithin, but I would not throw it out. It will work. It just usually takes a little bit longer and a little bit of modification.
You just have to beat it, beat it, beat it, beat it.
Next one is from Marilyn.
Hey, Marilyn.
Another great Keto Beyond the Couch. I love listening to your keto wisdom. I do intermittent fasting, and some days I fast, but if I am hungry, I eat. So I love Joe's intuitive fasting idea.
Well, it's important for you to get in touch with your body so that you can make this keto lifestyle sustainable no matter where you are. So you can do this on vacation. You can do this on the road trip. We didn't eat nearly as much as we would have if we were home expending a whole bunch of energy on the farm, lifting and toting and carrying stuff, right? We were riding in the vehicle. So it seems reasonable that we just weren't as hungry as we normally are.
So driving up, we were actually watching a really interesting video. If I can find a link, I'll leave it down below, from Dr. Westman.
Love him.
And Dr. Westman was basically analyzing another video and talking about, keto and also GLP-1s. I mean, it was a fascinating video, but that was something that he talked about even in there when it comes to fasting, that it should be more intuitive. It shouldn't be. it shouldn't be like, I have this eating window and I have to eat in this window, and oh my gosh, you cannot eat no matter what outside of this window. But keto and carnivore, they just naturally make you not eat as much or as often. They naturally calorically restrict you, if you want to get into the calorie term, where he's like, he never really gives somebody like, here's how many calories you should eat, because you will just naturally reduce your volume when you are eating a true keto carnivore lifestyle. When I say true keto carnivore lifestyle, especially when you get on the keto, not eating a whole bunch of snacks and stuff like that. When I'm talking about it, you're focusing on meat and maybe some vegetables and things like that. The more you deviate away from that and start implementing desserts and things that we don't really have a shut off for, it becomes a little bit more where you have to kind of like look at things. But if you're just eating meat with some vegetables, you will naturally eat less.
It was so interesting.
And less often.
You know, people that he has served over the years, specializing in helping people through, you know, obesity issues. It was interesting. I feel like we're always pressed for calories. Like, give me the calories. I want to know how much calories are in that. And he talked about how the patients he sees are just so fatigued that they don't want to talk about calories at all. And so his focus is more about pulling back the carbs and having like a lower carb intake and focusing on that number instead of the calories. I just thought that was fascinating.
Yeah. He said it comes down to, you know, like how your body goes. And the biggest real thing to be focusing on is that carbohydrate thing. Next one is from Laura.
Hi, Laura.
You know, we're not designed to just eat lettuce and grass and all that stuff, right? Meat is exactly what we were designed to eat. Everything that lives off the grass has a 4-chambered stomach. Beth Dutton from Yellowstone. I just put this in here because, again, you know, a lot of y'all know that I just love anything Taylor Sheridan. And I remember this exact quote and when she says it in the show. And that's the thing where, you know, people talk about, well, you know, you're really supposed to be a vegan or a vegetarian. Your body doesn't process that stuff the same way. You don't get all the nutrients. There's a reason why there are essential amino acids that you cannot get from plants.
Well, it was interesting, you know, I recently put out a Substack article about other people throughout history who were meat eaters.
Yes.
And what they were able to accomplish because they leaned into it. You know, I think that it's such a precious gift we have that these ruminant animals are taking all of this foliage that we can just do nothing with. I mean, they eat grasses and, you know, you see them break down, you think about goats and how things that they'll eat. They're just like trash plants.
Yes.
You know, even our pigs will eat just trashy plants that we can't do anything with, and they turn them into proper nutrition for us. Instead of kicking against that, let's lean into that gift that they're giving us.
Yeah. Now, I have to say, that's not saying that you shouldn't eat any plants.
No.
And again, I know some carnivores going to go, no, that is what that's saying. I'm not saying that. But what I am going to tell you is that when you look down at your plate should be mostly meat. Your plate should not be how we were raised, where it's a giant bowl of 8 cups of salad and a steak that big. It should be a steak that big and a salad that big. Your plate should be mostly meat. If you want to eat some vegetables, if you want to eat a salad because you like the taste of it or you like the color of it, you know, or you want the texture, that is fine. But most of your food should be meat, because the bottom line is I don't care how much salad you eat, I don't care how many vegetables you eat, you're not getting the nutrition that you think you're getting from all these vitamins and nutrients that everybody says is in salads and stuff. Not really. And that's because we farm on minerally depleted lands here in the United States. So, like, unless you are, you know, really going to a regenerative farm, and I mean, not even organic stuff, because organic is honestly a big scam. But unless you're going to a regenerative farm, and I would even go so far as say, unless you're doing it yourself, there's not a lot of nutrients in the salads and stuff. So when you're eating vegetables because you like them, whether it be the taste, the crunch, the color, whatever, but not for nutrients, because there's really no nutrients in at least here in the United States. There's like no nutrients in this stuff. So eat it, enjoy it if you like it, but understand it's for entertainment. It's not for nutrition.
Well, and you know what? You know what's nice? You can choose to eat the things that you like and not justify it to anybody else. I didn't take a poll as to getting my hair cut.
Yes.
Some people like it, some people hate it. I've gotten messages on both.
Yes.
But it's my haircut and I like it. I don't have to say, well, the only thing is I have to have my hair this short because of this, da 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 da. I don't need to justify it. I just like it. So do we eat vegetables sometimes? Yeah, because it's for entertainment purposes. I know that I'm eating it because I just wanna.
Right.
And that's okay.
That's right.
Right? I love it.
Just make sure your plate is mostly meat. And again, not to beat a dead horse, but if you struggle with eating a lot of meat, if you struggle with getting at least 80 to 100 grams of protein every single day in, then when you look down on your plate, it should be only meat.
Right.
Like that, your number one goal is 80 to 100 grams of protein a day, which is not a lot. We get a lot of messages. That is so much food. It's not. We actually looked it up. It's 5 double cheeseburgers from McDonald's without the bread. Just the patties. Have you ever seen for the whole day?
Right.
Right? I mean, 5 double cheeseburgers is just not a lot of food when you split it through the whole day. If you can't get it in an OMAD, then you shouldn't be OMADing.
Right.
But if you really are struggling that much to get 80 to 100 grams of protein in, the only thing you should be eating is meat.
Yeah.
And then if you can get it, then feel free to add salads or desserts or things like that.
Sure.
But if you can't get it in, that should be the only thing you're eating. Let's take a quick fade to black for a commercial, and then we'll come right back.
Welcome back.
So before we get into the rest of the comments, I did want to take a moment to say thank you so much to the U.S. military, both active and veterans, and also ask everybody, please keep all of our military personnel in their prayers through this conflict, as well as all of the people over in the Middle East, whether it be Iran or the other different surrounding areas. Okay, let's get into this next one from Laquita.
Hey, Laquita.
And said, I have been frozen around 200 for a number of years now. I don't know if I'm needing to continue my focus on food. Maybe make March a strict carnivore with my morning coffee and daytime tea month. Should I continue with just tracking and learn how to track something else like your sleep? April, another item I'm tracking, etc. And then in June, after having tracking data come back and learn how to make tweaks until I am able to start moving different needles. Maybe I should visit with Rachel Stauffer about coaching to learn some of her mental health successes and use this year of being 50 to learn how to be happy with the woman in the mirror. So I'm going to let you answer this, but I do want to say a couple of things real quick. Number one, I think you should focus on one thing. So if you've been doing pretty good with your food and you're eating mostly a carnivore lifestyle, I would keep doing what you're doing and now spend a month and track one thing and see if that makes a change. And if it doesn't make a change, then maybe move on to something else. Don't try to do a bunch of different things. Don't try to tweak a bunch of things at once, because then you don't know what is actually moving the needle. So again, if you are eating and you think you're eating right and you think you're eating the proper amount of food, not overeating, because again, it still comes down to you have to eat less than your body actually needs, and also make sure you're eating enough. If you don't think that's working, first thing I would do is track your sleep. Where's your sleep? That's my struggle. I deal with having some pinched nerves, which keeps me awake at night, and then also my stress will keep me awake at night. And sleep is a huge thing. And if you are like me, even if you're eating perfectly and eating a little bit less than your body needs, but you're only getting 2, 3, 4 hours sleep, that's going to affect a weight loss thing. You guys should be looking at sleep, looking at your stress management, and looking at your movement.
I would love the opportunity to work with you. So if that's something that you're like, hey, I think I'm ready for that, it may be time. If like Laquita, you're thinking, hey, I've done all this stuff. I think I've got my nutrition pretty dialed in and I'm keeping it kind of simple. what else is there? It may be time for a coach. It really might. And I think that shows wisdom that you're like, I'm ready to move to the next step because I've gotten to this fantastic area and I've maintained this area, right? I've taken this new ground for health and I've maintained the ground. That's awesome. But maybe it's time for a step further. And it's okay to need help for that. That's why we're here. But yeah, I think that there's probably something else going on that's in the 20%.
Yeah. Or it could have something to do with the food. And that's where a coach can really help somebody, move the needle a little bit. I love equating coaching to one of my favorite movies, which is going to be Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And, at the end of the movie, if you've ever seen it, and if you haven't, I'm sorry, we're at the point now that movie is so old that I'm going to spoil the movie. So
Spoiler
I'm sorry.
alert.
But at the end of the movie, there is a scene where Harrison Ford has to get across a basically hidden bridge. It's a puzzle, right? It's a hidden bridge. And he has the diary from his father. And he's trying to remember this diary. And the diary is telling you the steps of how to get through to the other side, right? That's what a coach is. So the diary is telling him step here, step here, step here, step here. Could he have figured out how to get across on his own? And there's actually part of that. It's that in the movie, right? It's part of the scene where he steps and then it goes away because he's spelling it wrong.
Trial and error.
So it's trial and error. You can do that. I have done that. Rachel has done that. And we've had a lot of success and a lot of failures. And over the years, we've learned what works and what doesn't, and along with talking to health professionals like Dr. Barry and other doctors and health practitioners, and along with getting certified as a master primal health coach, we've learned a lot of that stuff. So a coach can help you get there faster because they know what steps that you should avoid and what steps you should take. And that's where a coach really comes in. Know this about a coach, though. A coach's job is to make you not need a coach.
That's right.
That if you are working with a coach and you've been working with this same coach for a couple of years, 2-3 years, and there is no end in sight, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry if I'm offending another coach. It's time for a new coach.
Right.
Because the coach's job is to make you not need the coach. Next one we have, and we're going to get into today's topic, is from Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Kim said, what is one piece of advice that you would wish you had gotten in the beginning of your journey? Now, I know that Kim was putting this out there in our Mighty Networks group. And again, if you're not a member of our Mighty Networks group, you need to go join it because this is good stuff here.
Yeah.
Right? But I thought this would be a good topic for today.
I love it.
And it's going to really help you because we're going to tell you what, for us, is the one thing I wish I would have known, and also for you guys. And now for somebody who's brand new, you're going to be help educating them of what to look for. The one thing that I wish I would have known at the very beginning of my journey is that fat is a lever. When I first got started on keto, you saw these macro things, and you really, at least I did, and I think that was what most people thought, was you have to hit all of your macros. And so here I have, you have to eat this much fat and this much protein and this many carbohydrates. And I thought, okay, I get 20 carbs. Well, I had no problem ever getting all 20 carbs in. And then I have protein. Well, I would always struggle to stay under that protein because, again, I thought, like, I'm not allowed to go over that protein. And then the fat, at the end of the day, because at the time when I first started keto, I was more of a chicken person than a beef person. And so my protein levels were always really high. And at the end of the day, I filled all my protein macros I can't go over. I've eaten all my carbohydrates. And then I'm only like 50% to my fat goal. And I'd be like, now what?
Stick of butter, I guess.
And so I would eat like a stick of butter. Now, you have to be careful because you do need to consume fat. But I would just obscenely eat fat to eat fat. And I wish I would have known at the beginning of my journey, and for anybody who is brand new, this is what I'm going to encourage you. Fat is the lever. So the protein is the most important thing. 80 to 100 grams of protein minimum. Your fat should be at least 1 gram of fat to 1 gram of protein. The carbs are another thing that I did not understand at the time. I thought, 20 carbs. I didn't understand I could eat less.
Right.
So when people ask us now, how many carbs should I eat? As little as possible. I'll tell you, you can have up to 30, 40 total carbs depending on what your goals are and where you are in your metabolic health, like up to 30, 40 total carbohydrates. But you can eat less. And if you eat less, you will have quicker results or maybe have different results that will only be better. So don't ever think that at the end of the day, like, I have 10 carbs left I didn't eat. I guess I should go eat a whole bag of nuts till I get those 10 carbs extra in.
Right, because it's owed to me. I think for me, the advice I wish that I knew was, since we're already changing our mind totally about the food we eat, right? Because you really have to turn your own personal thoughts upside down. Like, we can't eat butter. We can eat red meat. Like all of those things made us have to throw out old belief systems, right? So since we're already in the throwing out old belief systems, phase of this life, I wish that I had decided that I was going to pursue different thoughts about myself and loving myself and believing myself as trustworthy around food and that I was lovable right where I was at. I think I always had this wrong belief that I would begin to like myself once I reached a certain weight and once I reached a certain size. And it was, gut-wrenching when I kept going down, and yet at the same time, my desire to like myself and like friending myself and cheering for myself, it was not happening like the seesaw effect I thought. I thought the weight's going to go down, the size is going to go down, and like Rachel believing in herself and liking herself and finding herself attractive, that's going to go up. But it didn't. It didn't organically. So I've had to work on that a lot, and it's very hard to do that because it's very hard to do it when you're already exhausted and tired from the whole health process.
I'll give you 2 more real quick before we move on. One of them is I think really important. I think they're both important. The first one is, I wish when I got started I would have known that keto isn't just about losing weight, but that keto is a health improvement diet and that weight loss is just a side effect.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it would have changed a lot because I found out by accident that it improves your health, and that's what got me to stick on it. But when I first started keto, I went into the keto lifestyle basically making this decision that when I get to this weight, I will reintroduce carbs, kind of like Atkins. I had made the decision I wouldn't do sugar, and I had made the decision that I wouldn't do like a whole bunch of bread because I recognized quickly that that would probably make me just never stop eating it again. Kind of like I did when I did Atkins years ago. Like I did very well on Atkins, and the second I gave myself a piece of bread,
reintroduction phase,
and I immediately just went off the rails. And so I knew that bread would be a trigger. That's why I've never eaten bread. But if I would have known from day one that this is about improving your health, then the weight loss will just come. I think I would have done things differently. The other thing I think is super, super important that a lot of people don't understand when they get started on keto is you need electrolytes.
Yes.
You need electrolytes. And that's why we love working with companies like Salty. And, they can bring you an electrolyte and you're going to be able to get everything you need, all of your potassium, your magnesium, and the sodium in. It's going to taste good. And you're also consuming water because, personally, I don't like drinking plain water. And so that was a huge help for me. Next one we have is from Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
Said, throughout my keto carnivore journey, I have developed a few food aversions. On my most recent one is shocking to me. Coffee.
What the heck?
What the hey? I have enjoyed 2 to 3 cups of coffee every day since I was a young adult. This has really been a long-term relationship. What is going on? Has this happened to any of you?
Well, you know what? The interesting thing about coffee is we lean on it for different reasons. And if you're in a new season of life, let's say you've retired or you've started a new job, maybe you have a different schedule, you may not need to live caffeinated. You may have energy on your own. If you're going from a standard American diet to a keto diet and certainly to a carnivore diet, the brain fog has lifted and you are not needing to rely so much on caffeine. And so even though you may like the taste of it, and sometimes we don't love the taste of it, sometimes we're just leaning on it because we think we're supposed to, right? But even if you like the flavor of it, but it's just not necessary anymore, your body can start to say, whoa, we don't need this. In fact, if you've got a major amount of energy and the brain fog has lifted, you may actually find that even if you've been drinking coffee for a long time, all of a sudden you drink coffee and you get super jittery. And you're like, whoa, I haven't changed the brand. I'm not doing anything weird with it. But your body's like, we don't need this anymore.
It can also happen, and I've definitely developed over the years food aversions to things or gone through like temporary, like, ew, even the thought of that is gross. But sometimes when you overdo a food,
sure.
If so you overdo a food and then combine that with, like Rachel's saying, too much caffeine or your body doesn't need it anymore, your body just naturally develops like, no, that's gross now. And, I remember Rachel years ago, like she loved White Castle burgers till she sat down and ate 30 of them in a sitting.
Then I needed like a while. I am ready to sort of bring back the steamed hamburger into my life because I have given it like a solid 10 years, I would say, that I have not eaten any this like the steamed burger because I just blew out my receptors for it.
Yeah. Next one we have is from Gail.
Hi, Gail.
I think Joe and I are siblings of different mothers.
I love that.
I could eat cheese all day and all night. Same with peanut butter. And a peanut butter sandwich with sharp cheddar is my favorite.
You ever tried that?
No.
I've never tried that.
Seriously, you have probably talked about it before, but why is there a no-stop mechanism for eating cheese? My husband can stop eating nuts, peanut butter, cheese, etc., and I absolutely eat through a bag, a jar, or a block and never look back. Thanks. Okay, so this is a great one, and I'm going to speak specifically to cheese.
Okay.
There's a few reasons that we don't really have a shutoff for cheese. The first one is because it's delicious.
It is tasty.
Okay?
Fat is flavor, yo.
It is delicious. But see, there's a problem. It's not that you inherently have a problem with cheese, like, in itself. The real problem with cheese is more fat than protein. Fat is not as satiating in the moment. So when you couple fat with protein, it's very easy to stop eating it because the protein will fill you up. So, for example, if you looked at 800 calories of a steak, okay, that's going to be like this. But 800 calories of cheese is like this. So it becomes a volume thing where you have to eat a lot of it in as far as volume
to notice
to fill yourself up because it is mostly fat. So that is one aspect of it. So where you have it's not as satiating because it is more fat than protein. The other thing that you have to think about with it is, okay, it's delicious, it's very creamy. Then it hits certain signals in your body that your body loves, like the creaminess and then the milk, and then add in the salt. All of those are triggers for your body. Then there's another thing, and this is one of the big things, is the casein. Well, the way your body treats the casein when it breaks down, the casein actually goes into your receptors and it becomes like a dopamine hit. And so you enjoy it more. And so that ends up making you want it even more. And so it really hits those receptors so that you just keep wanting to eat more and more and more. It's almost like an opioid effect.
Well, and you can, it seems reasonable, right? That you're like, I really enjoy this thing. I enjoy it on a tactile basis. I can eat a lot before I get full on it. So we can have this experience really stretch out. Visually, it can be nice, like that spreading of the cheese alone is like fun. It's like a fun food. So if you're like, I enjoy this experience, it is reasonable that you would want to have a lot of an experience that you enjoy, right? You'd want to come back to that over and over again. And I think that you can make a similar case for peanut butter, especially when it comes down to what kind of people have very strong feelings, crunchy or creamy. What kind of peanut butter do you like, right? It's because there's a tactile element to it as well. And again, you got a lot of fat and you have a mouthfeel that you enjoy. And then you also there's a decadence that goes with nut butters and cheese. And it also can be coupled with our childhood, right? Especially if that was something that you sprinkled on top of stuff. You're used to a lot of cheese. Maybe you ate a lot of macaroni and cheese. So yeah, we've gotten rid of the macaroni noodles, but the cheese sauce can still be there.
Yeah. And, though you don't have the casein in peanut butter and nuts and things like that, the other factors still add in because they are generally very, very high in fat. There may be a little bit of protein, but they're generally very high in fat. The fat is not satiating in the moment. And then when you look at the volume, again, a serving of peanut butter is like 1 or 2 tablespoons. Well,
not in this mouth.
You can eat just a lot of it.
Right.
Nuts. I mean, probably the best nut out there. I like Brazil nuts. And then macadamia nuts. Well, like a Brazil nut, like a serving is 2. 2.
Who's eating 2?
And who's going to only eat 2? So by the time you eat enough of those to feel full, you've eaten 5,000 calories of nuts. And by the way, most of that is going to be fat. So that's where it becomes a danger thing. And it's because, again, you're dealing with the fat combined with the salt. So all of those really go to your receptors, especially if you're on keto and carnivore, salt becomes like sugar.
Right. Well, and
it hits the same receptors in your brain.
And there's a lot more carbohydrates in nuts, too.
Next one is going to be from Robin.
Hey, Robin.
Robin said, Teddy peanut butter. Last week in one of their videos, 2KK mentioned this peanut butter, been just peanuts and salt. One of the vendors at the expo after my 5K last weekend was this peanut butter, and I tested it. OMG, excellent peanut butter.
It is really good. I mean, again, the quality of something is going to be about those ingredients. And when you have a peanut butter where it's just the peanuts and it's just the salt, the peanuts have to be good peanuts.
Yes.
It's funny. In Florida, we didn't always have a lot of barbecue sauce because we had that mentality that
good barbecue doesn't need sauce.
It doesn't need sauce, that the meat is supposed to be good quality and it should stand up for itself. We have a friend that worked at a supermarket and said, don't ever get hot sausage because if there's anything that's about to go bad, then they will
all the scraps from the animals.
Right. They're gonna mix it with the red hot sauce and you're not gonna notice it as easy. So yeah, so I find that Teddy brand really is delicious. And again, if it's something where it's just peanuts, just 1 or 2 ingredients, those ingredients have to be excellent.
So I actually put this in here to give me an excuse because I had been thinking about when we talked about peanut butter. And if you don't know, this is from last week. Somebody had asked about peanut butter. What peanut butter can I use that would they were actually looking for one with a sweetener in it. But it got us off on talking about peanut butters that don't have a bunch of other crap in them. Peanut butter should have 2 ingredients, peanuts and salt. If you pick up a jar of peanut butter and it says peanuts, canola oil, and salt, throw it out the window.
Right.
It's garbage. There's enough fat in peanut butter. Why do we need to add fat? But it got me thinking. Another good solution, because we had mentioned you could make it at your house. Well, if you don't have a really good food processor, if you don't have a Vitamix, you need to use a good blender if you're going to make it. Don't use the $20 Walmart blender. You'll burn it up.
Crying.
But it got me thinking, that most places like Whole Foods, like if you have a Whole Foods near you, you could literally make your own peanut butter right there. There's at the end of one of the aisles, there is a big machine and you just press the button, it spits out fresh peanut butter right there. And listen, they go through the peanuts so fast, you know they're going to be fresh peanuts. This is like, you know, as a diesel truck driver, my place to get diesel is at a truck stop. Why? Because they go through diesel fuel very quickly, so you know it's not diesel that's been sitting in the ground. The last thing I want to do is go to the diesel station that's in the middle of nowhere that maybe one car every 10 days goes and fills up with, right? Yeah. You want to go where you know they're going through it. So if you go to Whole Foods, I'm not sure about Trader Joe's or what's
Lucky's
the other one?
Used to.
Lucky's did, I know, but we don't have Lucky's anymore. But what's the other place? Sprouts, I don't
Fresh
know if
Market.
they have it. Fresh Market. I know they had one, at least the one by our old house had it. But yeah, so go to one of those places where they have that machine, and then if you want sweetener, take it home. A few drops of liquid stevia, or if you want to put granulated, I'd use allulose, and just remix it yourself at home.
Yeah.
Next one we have is from Marilyn.
Hi, Marilyn.
Joe and Rachel, you both look so good and healthy. I love this recipe as I've recently discovered a dairy allergy. I'm also allergic to honey. I know you mentioned coconut sugar, and that is fine with me. I just don't want to invest in the items if it will not work. Can you please give me your opinion of what I can use to serve the purpose of honey, since honey is out for me? So this is regarding our coconut yogurt recipe, and I actually want to make some clarifications on that. So as far as the coconut yogurt recipe, what is the purpose of the honey? It is to feed the cultures.
Not you, the cultures.
It is to feed the cultures. That's why you only need a half a teaspoon in it. It is to feed the cultures. A half a teaspoon of honey is adding 2 carbs to the entire batch. It is not something to worry about. Please don't mess with me. Well, actually, you know what? If you want to message me how I'm a jerk and that how dare I recommend honey, fine, go ahead. It's engagement and YouTube loves that. And then I can answer you back and then YouTube will love that more. But no, it's 2 carbs for the entire batch. But it is to feed the cultures, and by the time the cultures are done, there's none left. So what can you use instead of honey? You can use a half a teaspoon of regular white table sugar or raw sugar. You can use a half a teaspoon of maple syrup, or you can use a half a teaspoon of coconut sugar. Those are the 3 things that I would use. You want to use a sugar. You could use inulin, but inulin doesn't really feed L-reuteri as well as a yogurt culture. If you were doing regular yogurt, I would say yes. But if you're doing L-reuteri, no. Also, I should mention, and I should have said it in that video, if you are looking for true L-reuteri and all of the benefits, especially if you're trying to do it for gut health, you want to go 30 to 36 hours on your fermentation. The more fermentation you go, the more L-reuteri, like at 12 to 24 hours, you're just kind of getting into there. And there was also another question on there for... can you reuse the liquid to make a starter later? Yes. And if you do get a bunch of separation, I would basically remix that whole thing and immediately make another batch and use that as a starter, because it just meant very active cultures. A bunch of people have asked us for a written recipe on that. We will get that up for you. Next one we have is from Adriana.
Hi, Adriana.
Hello, guys. I always make your regular yogurt, and I just saw the one with the coconut milk. Can you please do a video for the regular milk and L-reuteri? Please. We could, but honestly, here's what I'm going to tell you. If you want a regular milk with L-reuteri, you're going to make it the same way as we make our regular yogurt. Okay, you don't have to add honey. You don't have to add sugar because there's lactose in milk. 36 hours.
Yeah.
You're going to ferment it for 36 hours. Lower the temperature to between 100 and 106 degrees. Also, for those of you who are members of our paid version of Mighty Networks, one of the things that we are going to start doing is we're going to try to release a video early to you guys before we release it, because we're trying to basically make videos ahead of time and have them in the tank to make sure that things get released. And the video that is being released for you guys early is actually how to make yogurt inside of a dehydrator. So if you don't have an Instapot or a yogurt machine, you can actually make it in a dehydrator. So if you're in the paid version of our Mighty Networks group, and that's one of the big differences between that and the free version, is you're going to get that, and then also you get Wednesday coaching with Rachel. But you can go check that out. We will have that link for you in Mighty Networks. Next one is from Traveling Girl.
Hey, Traveling Girl. In 2023, I bought a lot of Chalk Zero products. They are good. I used to make fudge with their chocolate chips in every flavor that they made. I was able to stay in ketosis most of the time, but one morning I decided to eat a bowl of their white chocolate chips. My blood sugar soared to over 200. After that, I did some research, and apparently I'm not the only one who has blood sugar spikes with their products. I don't know how I stayed in ketosis so much, but had a spike like that. I think that they've changed things over the years.
I think they've changed things over the years. I know when we first got started using Chalk Zero products, neither one of us had an issue, and then it would skyrocket Rachel's blood sugar. We've also noticed different products do different things. I think there's something with the white chocolate, but it's one of the reasons that we've always been on the hunt for like a cleaner chocolate. I don't think that you need necessarily all of the different ingredients that some of these companies like Chalk Zero and Lily's put in there, and you could do a very simple keto version of chocolate chips. We talked about it on our live stream the other day. Somebody asked about chocolate chips, and honestly, as of right now, our favorite ones, I know people talk about there was one in Trader Joe's, but we don't have one near us. But
the Walmart one.
The one in Walmart that was a Bake Believe.
Yeah.
Very clean ingredients, and they're cheap. They're like $5 a bag.
Cheap
and
and good.
That's what we started using. We used to be brand ambassadors and affiliates for Chalk Zero, but when we recognized that it really jacked Rachel's blood sugar up, we decided
bye.
We're not gonna represent that anymore, because if you're new to our channel, if we wouldn't use it, we won't work with the company. It's one thing of, I know a lot of people like it and we use it, and maybe there's we use 3 or 4 different versions of electrolytes and people like different ones. That's why we're willing to have a discount code for Element and a discount code for
Redmond
and Salty, because we like them all. But if we didn't like them, if we refuse to use it because we think it's horrible, or we don't like the taste of it or whatever, I don't care how many of our subscribers like it, we wouldn't have a coupon code or work with that company. So if we don't use it, we won't represent it. Next one is from, I had the wrong one up there, Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer.
This is the last one. Can you point me in the direction of where in the Bible it exactly says you should not focus on what you eat?
So this comes from the carnivorous grandma interview,
yes,
I believe. It comes from Matthew. I actually have it right here because I wanted to quote it. I actually there's different translations of the Bible, and everybody has their kind of favorite, right? One that I really like is Amplified. The Amplified version is really great for us people who like to just, have more of an untangle. But this comes from Matthew 6:25, where it talks about, therefore I tell you, stop being perpetually uneasy. That I just love that wording. Stop being perpetually uneasy. I think that's good advice for a lot of things, right? Are you perpetually uneasy about something? Stop being perpetually uneasy, which just means anxious and worried about your life, what you shall eat or what you shall drink, or about your body, what you shall put on, like the clothes that you wear. Is not life greater in quality than food, and the body far above and more excellent than clothing? I love that.
Yes.
Sometimes we are just so fixated on the wrong thing.
Yes.
Right? I think about that. It's like, here is truth that is from years and years ago. So this was written a long time before Instagram.
Yes.
A long time before television and movies. And it's telling you, stop, calm down. Stop being so uneasy and perplexed and fixated and anxious and worried over what you eat and what you wear. And what would you say that social media, if you could boil it down to something, what is it primarily? It's a lot of pictures about what people are eating and what people are wearing. And instead of just, we say we're just consuming it in like an entertainment way. However, do you find that it brings like a lot of comparison up and a lot of FOMO and a lot of, oh my gosh, maybe I'm doing this wrong, right? So if it's causing you a lot of freaking out, stop letting it. And I love that scripture continues to talk about like, if you're gonna worry, do you find that worrying makes you taller? Does it enhance your life in any way? Do you like, does it get you anywhere? Not really.
And here's the thing is, whether you're a Christian or not, I think this applies to you.
Sure.
Right? We can take wisdom from that. We need to not focus on that. There's a lot of other things that are much more important than that. Also, by the way, Colossians actually says, therefore, do not let anyone judge you by what you eat or drink. And that, of course, is really talking about don't let people judge you in a religious way. But I think it's something that we should also, don't let people in your life judge you by what you're eating.
Don't submit yourself like you owe people an explanation. I mean, a lot of times, we go, to family gatherings or parties, or we're out in like a social way, and people have thoughts about your keto lifestyle. It's always interesting to me that I could eat like sweaty garbage pre-keto. Nobody had notes about it, right? The fact that I was like eating like I lived at the state fair. And that was fine. But people have notes about what you're doing, what you're eating right now. It's not their business.
That's something else I wish I would have known when I got started.
It's not their business.
It's not their business. Because that exactly what you just said. I will never forget. So I as a fat person.
Sure.
And I can call myself, I was a fat person. I like obese is the nice way to say I was fat. I was a big fat guy.
And very uncomfortable
and
all the time.
Very low self-esteem. So I did all of my shopping in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I would literally get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and go to a 24-hour grocery store. And that's when I did my shopping because I did not want to be judged by what I ate. But what I learned on keto is nobody ever said anything. If I went shopping in the middle of the day before keto, you're talking to two people who we were those crazy coupon people, and when there were deals, we took advantage of them. The day after Halloween, we would go to Walmart
candy.
the second everything opened, and
cookies.
Like the Halloween Oreo cookies, we have 50 packages of them because they're buy one, get one free or 50% off or whatever the sale was for their Halloween, right? Nobody ever said a word.
If they did, it was like score.
Right. Nobody said a word when I went into Publix and bought 5 boxes of Funny Bones. Nobody ever said a word. But when I started on keto and I would go in and I would have 3 dozen eggs and 5 packages of bacon, I cannot even count how many times somebody in the store said to me, you don't actually eat that, do you?
You don't care about your health, do you?
I mean, I literally had people go, if you are eating like that, you are going to die.
I hope you're having a party.
And then I quickly learned who gives a crap what these people think. So then that's where the smart mouth comes from in me now, because as I got more confidence, and I think, listen, I don't care even about the way I look as far as my weight, but losing the weight brought confidence to me. That's the biggest gain other than my mobility that I got from keto was confidence. And so then I got the confidence to be a smart aleck to people. So now when people would say that to me and they would say like, what's with all the bacon? I'd be like, oh yeah, I eat a dozen eggs a day. And I just like seeing the facial reactions. Like, you're going to smart mouth me, I'm going to smart mouth you right back. I'll eat 3 packages of bacon, and guess what? My cholesterol is perfect.
I didn't get the smart mouth gene, but I all of a sudden could leave my home.
Yeah.
For mine, it was about brain health. And so people can say what they want, like, oh, you're going to die. And it was like, no. If I had continued eating what I was eating, that was the trip to death. Like, that was how I was going to die. Yeah. I knew it. It was going to kill me. And so whatever they want to say, I knew that I felt incredible in my body and I was living a life of fullness. And so I didn't really need their stamp of approval about it.
Yeah. Well, that is going to be the end of today's Keto Beyond the Couch. Now, a couple quick reminders. If you're a member of our paid version of Mighty Networks group, then on Wednesday at 10 a.m., Rachel will be doing her group coaching call. Now, if for some reason, because of our schedule here, we can't do that, we will put a message in Mighty Networks and we will get it in there somewhere, whether it be in the evening or something like that. But Rachel will be having a group coaching thing this week. We're going to do our best to do it at 10 a.m. And on Thursday at 8:30 p.m., we will be live for our regular weekly live stream. Where we will be live from, who knows? Depends on how far I can drive on Thursday. Now, again, please, if you are not a member of our Mighty Networks group, go join. It is free. Members.truekrazyketos.com. If you want to support us financially, if you believe in our mission of spreading the word of keto and of building community within this keto carnivore lifestyle, consider joining the paid version for just $10 or $25 a month. Links for all of that is down below. And if you like seeing videos like this, please do us a favor and take a look at the video we have linked right over there. Also, make sure you take a look at the most recent video that I'm going to put right over here.
But whether you head this way or you head this way, don't forget to head this way. Subscribe to our channel and click the little bell icon, and that way every single time it's Keto Beyond the Couch, you'll be alerted to it.
Till next time. Bye.
Bye.